Gamertag Radio presents E3 coverage. Hosts Danny Pena, Paris Lilly, and Peter Toledo are direct from the convention center floor.
All right, so right now we're checking out Atari. We're visiting, good friend Michael here. Been on the show now a couple of times.
Thanks,
and
Danny. Good to see you again.
And you guys are here at E3, man. So what is it that Atari is doing right here, promoting?
So the main focus for Atari at E3 this year is very much, it's all about the games. So there's a bunch of console games that we've got coming out, and the producers will talk to you more about those. But some flashback stuff, some new stuff, some VR stuff, a lot of exciting Atari games on display and being demoed for press and all that. Then the other side of the games equation has been the Atari VCS side of the games equation. We're not doing any kind of presentations. We're doing a few select press.
Yeah, which is good.
Interviews like this one. But primarily we're focused on business development and relationships. We've got a lot of conversations on the business side and in terms of content that we've been having, that we are continuing today. We're working towards closing, and we've started some new conversations. The beauty of the Atari VCS is this Linux platform, which makes it really easy for someone who's already got a Linux port of their game to move it over. And there are some big publishers and some small studios that have been really very attentive to the Linux platform. So that bodes well for us to have a lot of really good games when the console, or the platform, I should say, really ships in 2019.
Yeah, I know you guys during the launch of the Indiegogo campaign and stuff, you highlighted a couple of indie developers that are now going to be working on with you guys for games for the VCS.
Right, those are the ones that we can talk about.
And sure. I think it's good that you guys are highlighting that, because to me, indie games is super important.
Absolutely.
There's been indie games.
Today's indie is tomorrow's AAA, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You never know where something's going to go.
Yeah, and some of them make games that is different than the regular publishers. They're always putting out.
Well, they can take more chances, right?
Yeah, they love taking risks.
More creativity,
definitely,
and that's actually a big part of what the Atari community has become now too, and why we're doing things the way we are with the Atari VCS. We're doing this open platform as so. It starts with sort of an homage physically to the classic, 2600, and how the console looks, and hopefully the emotions it evokes in the classic fans. But the idea really is, to have this platform that has this open sandbox, this Linux sandbox that creative types and creative game fans can mod and create, and like I said, studios can port their things over very easily and develop things and be creative in the sandbox. It's one of those things where when you build a tool and then you put it in people's hands, that's when you really find out what the tool can really do. And that's one of the exciting things about the VCS. It's so it's not a closed platform like the other consoles. It's wide open. Obviously it has some limitations in terms of what the hardware can do, because you're limited sometimes. But it's going to play a lot of games, and like I said, a lot of these conversations we're having are going to make people really happy when we're able to announce them. But it's a process, and a lot of people with this Indiegogo campaign, this may be their first exposure to a crowdfunding process. It's really important that people understand that this is the beginning, and we're essentially, with this crowdfunding, we're doing all the marketing before the product instead of after the product, which is how sort of traditional marketing works. But a lot of what we're doing, it's a journey, right? And the reason we did the crowdfunding was because of the crowd. You're not doing it for the funding if your target is $100,000. We're doing it for the crowd because we care about the community. We want to hear what they have to say. We want to know what they think of the box. We want to know what they think of the specs. And trust me, they're telling us what they think, and it's great. And some of the things we're taking everything to heart. Some of the things we're going to be able to impact for sure, and some of the things we're going to have to push down the road. But the beauty of the way we're doing the VCS is that it's going to be a living, breathing thing, and that what it's delivering on day one versus what it's delivering on day 101 versus what it's delivering on day 10,001. I'm being optimistic. It's going to be around.
True.
Right?
It's true. Yeah.
But that it's going to go through an evolution because, again, you're putting this tool in people's hands. And look, there's guys out there making new games, brand new games for the 2600 and the 5200 and loading them up on cartridges and all that. We're trying to take this to sort of the next, bring it into today. But we want to capture a lot of that, enthusiasm and creativity that's out there, and reward the fans with a box that is a lot more contemporary and like has the online connectivity and has the expandability in terms of what they can do with it and storage and cloud options and things like that and streaming and entertainment. And of course, going back to the very beginning, we also made something that is beautiful and will look great out on your entertainment center instead of being tucked underneath like the other black bricks.
Yeah, and here's the thing too. To me, as a fan of gaming, I think it's important to have that communication with the consumers, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And of course, you can have those people that are gonna post negative stuff, whatever. But here's the problem. I think if you want to have,
what they say,
what?
As long as they're talking about you, you're doing something
yeah,
right.
It's promotion,
right?
yeah.
So.
But here's the thing. I think, to me personally, that's not the great way to give out feedback. Have a conversation, and at the same time, there's probably things that the consumers will learn from you guys, and there's stuff that you guys are going to learn from the consumers, and it goes both ways.
It's a mutual education process.
Exactly,
for sure. And
exactly.
That is very much why we did it this way, and why, because look, we've been out of the hardware game for a long time, and we tiptoed in last year with our wearables, with the speaker hats, and we did very well with it. We've sold thousands of them.
I have a blue one, love it.
Yeah, and people who get them love them, and they buy seconds and thirds. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
But we didn't know how that was going to be taken. We knew there were going to be skeptics who were going to say, "Oh, that's so stupid, a hat with speakers." But everybody who tries it really actually just gets captivated by it because it's a high quality piece. It's a really high quality hat, and it's really good audio for a hat, for hat audio, right? But it's kind of like audio AR, and you're not like shutting out the world. You're seeing. You're seeing people, find new ways to use it. Whether it's like the sneakerhead guys or the action sports guys or the esports guys, they all love it. Because it's you're not closing your ears off with cans or earbuds. People like it. People like being able to hear the world and talk to their friends. And, so anyway, so that was like sort of step one, and we've got other wearables that we're working on, and we'll talk about those when they come out because I know you'll be into them.
Ooh,
but
snap! He knows. He knows what's up.
But with the Atari VCS, like I said, we've been out of the hardware game for a long time, and and the decision process that got us to the Indiegogo decision was a number of things, but first and foremost, it was that community interaction that you talked about. Because if we just built a product and put it out there, it's finished, it's done, it's take it or leave it, right? Whereas this way, we set this thing up a year ahead of delivery while there's still time to impact it and make some changes if they make sense economically, they make sense in terms of features and benefits, and that's a huge part of what this is about. So so look, is it frustrating and does it make me sad when people are knocking the product because it's not what they want it to be? Of course, but we're going to try our best to make as many people happy as possible.
Exactly,
and that's really the objective. And still, like I said, retain sort of that spirit of what the Atari brand means to people, and it means a lot to people. I mean, that's the other thing we're seeing is just there's so many people who are writing to us since this thing went live that are just so thankful, and they're so excited to have an Atari game system in their house again one day, and so that kind of stuff that's the kind of stuff that motivates you to keep going. And bang out the improvements and make it the best Atari VCS it can be.
Yeah, and I even mentioned to you that my grandmother introduced me to gaming.
Right, yes.
But she just bought an Atari 2600 for me and for my cousins, not knowing what was going to happen. Look, years later, it influenced me to be a content creator and do other things because of the product.
So many people I talk to about that, and they have the exact same thing. And it brings back, same here. I mean, I was a kid and, my sister and my stepbrother and, we were playing, all the various games on the 2600 when we were kids. And, it was, you just get, sort of warm fuzzies, right? You remember like all that stuff and why you are doing it. And that's such a huge part of the Atari brand.
And I know there's a lot of older gamers that are fans of Atari. I know you guys also have like collections of like old games for different systems, right? You want to talk about that too?
I can talk a little bit about that, but I prefer you talk to the producers who are managing those games.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we're coming out with so we already have the flashback games that are available on Xbox and PlayStation. Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3 is coming, and then there's a version for the Nintendo Switch that's coming, which is going to be great.
I think that's the one I might play.
Yeah,
that's the one I gotta play.
You might like that one, and you'll test that out.
Yeah.
And then I mean the Roller Coaster Tycoon games continue to do well. We have the Roller Coaster Tycoon Touch on mobile, which has a couple 100,000 daily active users, which is great. People love that game, and there's other versions coming out for the Switch. Sorry,
it's okay
for the Switch. And also, of course, the Roller Coaster Tycoon Joyride, which is the PlayStation exclusive VR version, which you got to try.
Oh, that's awesome! I definitely got to try.
Crazy. It's definitely awesome.
But let's go back to the console real quick.
Sure.
Have you guys announced anything new for this week? I haven't. Honestly,
no,
I haven't been.
We like I said, we deliberately. We had a couple of meetings that may lead to some big announcements very soon.
Yeah, because I think that's what you said during our last interview.
That like we're going to go to E3 and we're all business. We're going to do a couple of meetings and interviews like this one. But yeah, it was all about like getting out there, finding these publishers and developers and studios that we've been talking to for a while, through email and phone conferences, and put faces to faces. And so there's a couple of exciting things that there's a bunch of exciting things that I know, but I can't talk about yet.
It's
right?
okay. It's okay.
But we'll get there.
But I think it will be great. A couple announcements during the campaign. From now to the end.
That is what we intend,
perfect,
and I think our fans will be happy with some of the stuff we're going to drop. Your
awesome.
fans will be happy with some of the stuff we're going to drop.
Yeah.
And it's going to be good.
Cool, man. No, Michael, I just want to say thanks, man. You always it's the first one always to be on the show. Let's do this. Let's record, man.
I love talking to you guys, and say hi to Pete in
Paris.
In Paris, and
definitely, man. Thanks a lot, man. Until next time.
Thank you.
All right, man.
Send us your feedback or questions. Give us a call at 786-273-7GTR. Email us at fanmail@gamertagradio.com or leave a message on speakpipe.com/gamertagradio.